Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the situation report or the summary for the day of 796 for the 29th of April. And we're going to start off with one frontline changes report. I have already published a frontline changes report. You probably might have seen it. And so that covers a lot of changes. So and there's still one more that comes after that that based on the latest information coming from the Russian source, Ryber, and it's over at Robotyne. So just now we already have talked about Robotyne because of the geolocation of Russian forces geolocated around here. So there is a Russian advance in this area here. Let me zoom in further. So the Russian advance in this area here. So based on the Russian mapping, they mapped it in this way. They also claim this area here based on the Russian mapping. So they basically claim almost the entirety of Robotyne, leaving just a little bit more, which they claim is gray zone. So they say that this area here is impossible for anyone to entrench because there's totally no place for them to hide. So Ukrainians are not there, the Russians cannot be there as well. But I think we're probably going to see the proclamation of Russian forces have recaptured Robotyne very, very soon. I think the conditions would be the Russians taking some of these tree lines around here. But anyway, we'll talk more about it when we go into the Zaporizhzhia Front. So we go into the strategy and tactical reporting. We're going to start off with the Kherson Front first. At the Kherson Front, other than the usual of Krinky, there's fighting reported at Krinky according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. As usual, as meaningless as it is, there is news regarding this this island that the Ukrainians claim they have captured. So Deep State UA is the one that reported this, but they have a change of mind in a way. So they claim that this capture of Nestriga or Nestriga is now not that accurate. They say that this announcement is now dismissed by the commander-in-chief in a way. The person who reported to the top about the success in the area caused trouble. And this operation was not completed. And in the morning, there's a mass shelling of the island. And the attempts to occupy part of it began. So I'm not sure who is doing the mass shelling or who is trying to occupy the island. But whatever it is, for this island of Nestriga, the Deep State UA actually is calling for the staff heads who are in a hurry to curry favor and put human life below their career ambitions to be punished. So yeah, basically that's what I told you, right? I told you yesterday that this don't make sense, right? This just don't make sense. And now we are now confirmed. I am right again that this entire capture has no logic in its nature, and it's just someone trying to be claim success or whatnot. But at least that's what Deep State UA say. There's high chance that this is just nonsensical at the first place. Maybe nothing is happening over there. However, there is actually a airstrike being reported and geolocated over at Kisumis. So this happened. But this area here, yeah, is just phantom story. So anyway, that's all for the Kherson Front. We move into the Zaporizhzhia Front. Over at the Zaporizhzhia Front, at the Robotyne region, as mentioned just now, Russian forces have taken most of Robotyne right now. And so this is the current situation. I believe that we are going to see the fall of Robotyne being reported within the next few days, because there is no way to hold this position. There is being mapped these trenches. I'm not sure if the Ukrainians dare to even sit in that kind of trenches over there. So there might be nothing over there. The Russians need to capture just these few tree lines and maybe this forest region here. I think with this secured, I believe Robotyne will be considered secured by the Russian forces, and yeah, it will be a confirmed capture. And then this will basically negate one of the bigger success or capture by the Ukrainian side. They spent a lot of troops and equipment to capture Robotyne, so this will be a disaster for the Ukrainians, because they start off here. This is where they start off. The Russians used to have this trench line around here. and they basically traveled down just to Robotyne, around 10 kilometers, and now they're losing, you know, almost half of it. So so disappointing. That's all for Zaporizhzhia Front. There's nothing else over at this region here. We move into the Donetsk Front. Over at the Donetsk Front, there is multiple reports of Russian attacks coming all over the place. There's Russian attacks reporting at Novoderivka, Staromayoske, Uruzaine, towards Vodian from the Soloki direction, towards Konstantinivka, over at Paraskovievka, at Georgievka, as well as Krasnohorivka, in two different directions, actually from the east and from the south. So this is the strategic situation over at the Donetsk Front. At the Veliko-Novosilka sector, there is geolocation of airstrike being reported in the northern part of Uruzaine. Russian forces are attacking these regions. The unusual one is actually the one towards Novoderivka that is not reported previously. This one was reported by the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. So we shall continue to monitor over this region. We move into the other fronts. There's nothing at the Voleda region except for this attack coming from Soloki towards Vodian. This is reported by Deep State UA as they mentioned the attack from Soloki towards Vodian. They say that the enemy was pushed back by the fighters of the 72nd Mechanized Brigade. So at least now we can have a kind of a more and more closer certainty that when they talk about fighting at Vodian, it's actually talking about an attack coming from the east. So this is more and more, you know, accurate, corroborated. Over at the Novo-Mikhailivka region, I'm going to start putting fighting at Konstantinivka because they are constantly mentioning Konstantinivka, with the fighting probably coming from Novo-Mikhailivka from the south, and the Russians are also trying to push for Paraskovievka according to Deep State UA. So this is a progression from the Battle of Novo-Mikhailivka. They're going to progress to fight at Konstantinivka. We will continue to wait. Konstantinivka is actually strategically important as it links Voleda all the way down to Voleda. And Konstantinivka is also the junction for this road all the way down through all these settlements. So this is a very important junction. So yeah, the Russians would probably love to deny it for the Ukrainians, and we shall see. And we move on to Georgievka. There's nothing. There's just fighting reported here. There's nothing to talk about now. Battle of Krasnohorivka. Yesterday's geolocation shows the Russians pushing from the east. We have now seen mappings that suggest more. So let's zoom in a bit more. So on the eastern part, let's try to fit everything in. Okay, so the Russian mapping shows that the Russians have taken the road as well and multiple of these trenches, while the Ukrainian mapping shows in this way. So whatever it is, the Russians are now making a massive push from the east towards Krasnohorivka. And this actually corroborates something that I said much more earlier, that I say that the Russians may, after a push coming from the south, I may use another color, from the south, they may attack from this area here and create a pincer. Although I thought it's unlikely because this area here is so heavily entrenched. But turned out that the Russians did indeed try to do it now. And there is expansion based on Russian mapping on the western part. Towards the northwestern part of Krasnohorivka. The fighting through the center towards the western neighborhood is still ongoing, and it looks like the target is this entire western neighborhood right now, and they're going to pincer this area here from both sides. And then the Russians have also expanded their control towards the west, in the center part of Krasnohorivka. So this is the current situation at the Battle of Krasnohorivka. The Ukrainians seems to have no means of stopping the Russians. At this moment, it looks like they are just keep getting pushed back again and again and again. So that's all for the Battle of Krasnohorivka. We move into the Avdiivka Front. At the Avdiivka Front, we have continuation of the Avdiivka offensive with fighting reported at Netelove, over in the south of Pervomayske, at Olivka, at Semenivka, towards Novoporovsky, at Novobakhmutivka, towards Saltkill, at Ocheretine, towards I can't read this one, I forgot. This NOVOOLEKSANDRIVKA, and then there's fighting report towards Arkhangelsk, fighting at Novokalinove and Karamik. So this is the entire strategic situation over at the Avdiivka Front. We move into details. So this color is wrong color. So we move into detail. There is a geolocation of a drone hitting Ukrainian forces over at Dolinivka, I believe. Yeah, Dolinivka. And they're over at Netelove. The Russian forces are still attacking in this area here with geolocation of an FPV drone strike on the Ukrainian armored vehicle, a BDRM over in the center of Netelove. So this is happening. According to Deep State UA, they reported the Russians are pushing south of Novopervomaisky. They are still unable to take out this salient. So interesting. And we move on further up north. There's no development being reported over at Semenivka and Olivka. At least no one is actually reporting anything coming out from this area here. So that's actually a bit surprised, because I thought that they will expand the control much more by now. And there is also fighting reported at Novoporotsky, Solovyove, over at Sokil, and Ocheretine. So these are all reported by Deep State UA, I believe. So Russian defense, Ryber and Ukrainian Defense Ministry and whatnot. The most big, one of the big development around this area is at Ocheretine, with the Russian forces capturing massive grounds in the northwestern part of Ocheretine. While they are also trying to push towards Arkhangelsk, which the Ukrainians are making a strong stand right now. The Russian forces are unable to push out. Instead, the Russians push towards NOVOOLEKSANDRIVKA. And now they have allegedly captured or taken this major tree entrenchment around here. But we're not sure if that's true, because this is based on Russian claims. Or Russian capture this by Deep State UA. So it's confirmed now. So it's confirmed. So that's the situation around here. The Russian forces will likely to continue to push to capture NOVOOLEKSANDRIVKA, and then they're going to have an open road. Or at least there's no much entrenchment around here. They can hit northeastward, or they can actually hit northwestward also. Possibility. Taking Avdiivka makes sense, because the road simply travels in that direction, and this road leads all the way up and able to cut off the major highway from Pokrov to Konstantinivka. It also leads to another road moving up to, I think, Druzhivka and Zrukivka. So yeah, so not too bad. This direction also works quite well. But the thing is that they did still capture quite a lot of grounds. Based on this graphic, is 4.72 kilometers square kilometers. So there's quite a big slice of land being captured. Over at Karamek region, Novokalinove, the Ukrainian mapping, Deep State UA has acknowledged that the Russians have basically stormed through Novokalinove. So in their mapping, most of Novokalinove is now under Russian control. Basically, it's a massive corroboration. The only this center part and around this heavy entrenchment is not being mapped as taken. But this part is actually gray zone in their mapping, so it could mean a lot of things. It could mean that the Russians are not there. It could also mean that the Ukrainians are still there. We're not sure. Over at Karamek as well, they also have mapped. They also have considered that the Russians have taken half of Karamek, and in fact they have expanded beyond what the Russians have mapped, and some part of this entrenchment is now taken. So this is very interesting. Which, if this is true, then the Russians can actually swing to the rear of Karamek, and with this pincer attack, Karamek is just not holdable. I think Karamek will be falling within the next 24 to 48 hours, given the situation as we are seeing right now. So, and Novokalinove definitely will be also be declared under Russian control, definitely for sure. So far, no one is claiming Novokalinove is fully captured just yet, based on my sources. Even if it looks like the Russians have taken full control of it, but there is no firm declaration just yet. I think they're still waiting for the soldiers to go there and wave the flag. So we shall continue to wait and see how this progress. Over at Niu-York Front, at the Niu-York Front, there is no fighting being reported, but there is an update in terms of the mapping. Based on Deep State UA's mapping, I noticed that they put Novosibirsk as entirely under Russian control, as well as this entire tree line along this road. So which means that just update the mapping just to inform you guys that this happened. And that's all from the New-York Front. We move into the Bakhmut Front. So over at the Bakhmut Front, there is fighting reported at Avdiivka, at Klishchiivka, at Ivaniske, down the highway towards Konstantinivka, through the forest towards Chasivya and at Novi. There is a geolocation of airstrike in Novi itself, but that's about it. There is no developments and major news coming out from this region here. We shall continue to wait and see how this develops. And that's all from the Bakhmut Front. Over at the Siversk Front, we still have this attacks coming from the Russian side. We're fighting reported at Verkhomokalyamske, Rozolyivka, as well as Bilohorivka. There is no fighting being reported at Avdiivka or Sprny. So yeah, we shall continue to wait. It's very sporadic in a way. So this offensive definitely doesn't have the same oomph as the Avdiivka Front. We move into the Kreminna Front. So at the Kreminna Front, we still have this Russian offensive that's currently ongoing. Can I fit everything in? I can't. Okay, so Russian forces are attacking through the Serebranske forestry, and they are fighting at Torske, at the south of Zarishny again, over at Terny and Nevsky. So the south of Zarishny again is by the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. Very, very curious. Why is it south of Zarishny? Is it that the Russians have taken all these grounds? I'm really not sure. I'm really very curious. But no, we have to wait and see how if there is any more intel coming out from the sources to verify how the hell is they fighting in the south of Zarishny. So moving on to the Svatove Front. At the Svatove Front, there is also developments in this area here. Can I? No, I can't fit. Okay, fighting reported at Berestove, at Stemakivka, at Novosibirsk, as well as Sverdokhlibove. I actually practiced to pronounce this for a long time, like months ago when I first talked about this place. Sverdokhlibove. So these are the few places that is fighting. And there is a persistent fighting reported at Berestove and Stemakivka, and even Novosibirsk is starting to look a bit serious. Sverdokhlibove is less serious, but yeah, it just looks like there's this major push that is developing around this direction as well. And if you look at the entrenchment mapping, it looks like the Russians will just pincer their way around all these heavy entrenchments. But let's see how this progress. And the aim will be Borova, as well as this crossing over at Horokovka. So we move on to the Kupyansk Front. At the Kupyansk Front, the fighting is continuing over at Kharkiv. This is a Berestove, just now has already reported about this. Over at Kharkiv, the Russian forces continue to expand their control this time round, taking the center part. Some forest there's not much buildings over there. So, and the Ukrainians previously was reported to have retreated to Kotyarivka. And latest rumors is that they are now retreating out of Kotyarivka because they are afraid of being encircled. Because if you look at Kotyarivka's situation, Russian forces have them basically semi-surrounded. The Russians are pushing in this direction, and if the Russians do a pincer in this way, they will be encircled. So the Ukrainians redrawing do make sense. So that's the current situation over at Kotyarivka. There is a geolocation of artillery strike on the Ukrainian position in Kharkiv. So there is still Ukrainians in Kharkiv right now. So we shall definitely monitor and see how this develops. There's nothing else over at the Kupyansk Front. And over at the Kharkiv Front, there is geolocation of Lancet attack on the Ukrainians over at Snelnikove, or rather actually is Sahelny. And then another geolocation is the airstrike, the Russian airstrike over at this area here called Strelecha. So that's about it. So this is the summary for the day of 796 for the 29th of April. Do press the like button, subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next update.